Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. My name is Jeff Street. I teach people how to make money from home, online, and today I want to talk to you about how do you win an argument? How do you win an argument? And one of the things that I've found, although I'm definitely not a psychologist or I'm not a relationship counselor, but one thing that I've definitely learned is the best way to win an argument is to not have one. And one of the things that I'll tell you is I'm not saying to not have healthy debates with somebody. I think that it's great to have healthy debates, healthy conversations when maybe you're not, you don't have to agree with everything that everybody else believes. But I definitely believe in all my heart that the best way to win an argument is to not have one. And one thing I constantly ask myself in life is we all go through the different trials, the different tribulations that we go through in our life is what good is going to come out of this situation? Good morning, Kathy. Good morning, Emery. What good is going to come out of this right now? See, for me, if I'm having a healthy debate with somebody and I feel the conversation starting to escalate, I feel the conversation starting to heat up, I realize the other person is very passionate about what it is that they're talking about. And before I respond, see, life is 20% what happens to you, and it's 80% of how you respond to things. Life is 80% how you respond to things. So if I feel a situation starting to, heat up, I realize I'm playing with fire. And here's what I know about fire is how do you put out fire? You put out fire by putting water on it. And what does water do to fire? Water cools the fire down. So how do you cool down a situation? One thing that I've seen is to step away from it. Hey, you know what? You obviously are very passionate about what you're saying. Let me take a little bit of time to think about that and get back to you. Let's finish this conversation, later on. I want to think about what it is that you're saying. And when you step away from a situation like that, what happens is you cool the situation down. But I think one of the biggest problems that people have is the desire to be right. The desire to be right. So many people are keeping a scorecard, in life. Oh, I won this one and you won, that one. Great. I keep a scorecard in golf. I don't keep a scorecard, in my relationships. Here's what I've found. I don't desire to be right. Here's what I desire to be. I desire to be happy. I desire to be happy because if you quote unquote win an argument and you prove that you're right, at the end of the day, what good does that do? What good does that do? Not what makes you feel better for about 5 minutes, but what's the effect on the other person? How do you make them feel? How is that something by you proving that you're right, which means you prove that somebody else is wrong? How many of us never want to be wrong, right? So by proving that you're right and you're proving that somebody else is wrong, how does that make them feel? How does that make a negative impact, on their life? Do you know that can actually scar somebody, in their life? Like, what good does it do you to actually get in an argument and win the argument? See, here's one thing that I've always seen. I know that, communication is a two-way street. I know that, anytime that there's an issue, that's a two-way thing as well. And what I realize is I can never change somebody else, but here's who I can change is myself. See, I think so many people spend so much time trying to change other people. And here's what I've realized about changing other people. People only change if they want to change. And here's what I know about people. Most people don't want to change. Most people don't want to change. So instead of trying to change other people, I figure out how do I change myself? I know that if there's a disagreement, that there's definitely at least a big part of it that I am responsible for. So instead of trying to have somebody else figure out what they're responsible for, I just think about what can I do in this situation? What am I responsible for? What could I have done better? And you want to hear what I do? For some of you guys, this is going to be like, oh my God, here's what I do. I tell people where I was wrong in the situation. Instead of me trying to have them figure out what they did wrong or prove to them what they did wrong, here's what I do instead. Hey, listen, here's what I think I could have done better in the situation. Listen, I know we had a disagreement earlier on. I've been doing some thinking, and here's where I think I could have been better. Here's what I think that I could have done better in the situation. Now, I don't expect for other people to then say, oh, well, here's what I could have done better. And I'm not keeping a scorecard. So if they don't, that's okay. I'm okay with it. I poured water on the fire. But here's what happens 90% of the time. 90% of the time. 90% of the time when I say, hey, you know what? Thought about the situation. Here's what I could have done better. Here's what I think I did wrong. You know what happens 90% of the time? Here's what the other person thinks of. You know what? Thank you for saying that. Here's what I could have done better. Here's where maybe that I was, wrong. And, another thing I'll tell you guys that I've learned over and over again is life is more about listening than talking. And I know I'm doing a lot of talking this morning here, but life is more about listening than talking. So if you can just go out and be a better listener than a talker, if you're not somebody that's constantly trying to prove a point, what I found is you'll be rich in your relationships. And that's what I want to be. I don't want to be right. I want to be happy. I want to be rich in my relationships. And I know that there's never been an argument that I've won. So guys, here's what I do. I take ownership. I don't try to change somebody else. I just try to figure out how can I go out and change myself. So take ownership of your life, take ownership of your situation, take ownership of your relationships, and drop a comment that says, I will take ownership. So drop a comment that says, I will take ownership. I encourage you to do that today. You'll be rich in your relationships, and hope that today's message was something that was beneficial for you. Again, I'm not a relationship counselor. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist. I'm just somebody that wants to be happy. Not trying to be right. I'm just trying to be happy. So I hope everybody has a happy day. Share today's video if you think that somebody else can get something out of today's message. Share today's video. Good morning, Geraldo. Good morning, Jeannie. I appreciate that. And again, guys, drop a comment that says, I will take ownership. So guys, have an amazing day. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. Go out and take ownership. Be rich in your relationships and be happy, everybody. Have a great day.